Hello friends, I am Nikhil Kumar. I am professor in the Department of English of Veer Kunwar Singh University, Ara in the province of Bihar in India. This afternoon I wish to speak on the avatarhood, or to say the incarnation of the divine in W.B. Yeats's The Second Coming. W.B. Yeats is a very important poet of the 20th century English poetry. He has made a very significant contribution to the evolution of the English poetic consciousness to those planes of spiritual consciousness from where mantra has been written. Before I proceed to his contribution, or to say his vision of the avatarhood, or to say the incarnation of the divine, I would like to speak on mantra. In my so many earlier video lectures, I have spoken on Sri Aurobindo's vision of mantra. Mantra is in fact a very ancient vision of the Vedic poets. But here, while discussing the vision of incarnation in W.B. Yeats, it is required that I should once again speak on what mantra is. Mantra is the poetic expression of the deepest spiritual reality. Sri Aurobindo has discovered the four planes of spiritual consciousness. Spiritual mind consciousness exists beyond the plane of the intellectual mind consciousness. It is called spiritual mind consciousness because herein we have the realization of the existence of the one transcendent divine. Sri Aurobindo has discovered four planes of spiritual consciousness. The first one is what he terms the higher mind. When we ascend further, higher, there is another plane of spiritual mind consciousness, which he terms the illumined mind. The third higher is intuitive mind, and the fourth higher is the overmind consciousness. So, overmind consciousness is the higher, or to say the highest plane of the spiritual consciousness on the plane of mind, beyond which there exists the transcendent consciousness. The transcendent consciousness is essentially the integral consciousness, whereas the mind consciousness, or to say the mental consciousness, is the separative principle of integral consciousness. As we ascend the higher planes of spiritual mind consciousness, the very separativity of the mental consciousness continues to decay. And as it continues to decay, we have a higher degree of realization of the existence of one divine. Sri Aurobindo states that poetry, which is written from some higher plane of the intuitive mind consciousness and the overmind consciousness, which are the two uppermost planes of the spiritual mind consciousness, is mantra. And these two planes can be called the plane or the planes of the mantric consciousness. Sri Aurobindo has discovered that W.B. Yeats has made a very significant contribution to the evolution of the English poetic consciousness to these planes of mantra. And it is so much significant that English poetry is destined to evolve to the planes of the mantra. It is so significant that the very dominance of the intellectual mind or intellectual consciousness within the mind of T.S. Eliot's poetic consciousness doesn't play an antagonist role in the evolution of English poetry. In fact, the very dominance of intellectual mind in T.S. Eliot's poetry is detrimental to the growth of the English poetic mind to the plane of the mantric consciousness. But Yeats's contribution is so powerful, so effective, that such a detrimental force which rises from the intellectual mind of T.S. Eliot's poetry doesn't make any adverse impact in the evolutionary phenomenon of the English mind. Sri Aurobindo says that this English poetry or the future of English poetry is determined to this English mind will determine the future not only of English poetry but to the future of poetry itself. In brief, I tell you that this spiritual consciousness which we find in W.B. Yeats will determine not only the future of English poetry but the future of the poetry of the world literature. In fact, in the opening page of his famous book, The Future Poetry, Sri Aurobindo says that English literature on the one hand and Indian temperament on the other will determine the future of poetry. By Indian temperament, he means the spiritual consciousness, the temperament of the spiritual consciousness. And the very temperament of the spiritual consciousness is a characteristic feature of the Irish mind. It is on account of this very fact that W.B. Yeats has got the vision of the incarnation of the divine. He has the vision that the divine will incarnate into this terrestrial existence. In the Gita, which is a part of the ancient Sanskrit epic Mahabharata, there is a vision of the incarnation of the divine. There are two shlokas or two verses in the 4th chapter of the Gita, in which Lord Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirabhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tajatmanam srijameham paritranaaya sadhunaya vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there is an evolutionary crisis, there is the decline of the divine values. Whenever there is a decline of the divine values on account of which the evolutionary crisis crops up, the divine will incarnate. So that this evolutionary crisis could be averted. Sri Aurobindo writes very clearly in his other famous book, the Essays on the Gita, that the divine incarnates to avert the evolutionary crisis. In fact, the very descent of the divine consciousness into the terrestrial existence is in fact the descent of a higher order of consciousness which was not earlier present in this very creation, in this very universe. The very descent of the divine consciousness, the very incarnation of the divine, a higher order of consciousness will come down and manifest for the first time in this terrestrial existence. So in this way, an avatar is the precursor. So the 20th century English poetry presents a picture of spiritual sterility into the grip of which mankind is lying. Man has gone spiritually sterile. That is why in his poem The Second Coming, it says innocence is drowned. And because innocence is drowned, things fall apart. Innocence is one of the most fundamental requirement for the evolution of human mind to the planes of spiritual consciousness, and then the transcendent consciousness, transcendent divine consciousness, decapital divine consciousness, which Sri Aurobindo terms the supramental consciousness. Innocence is one of the most basic requirements for man's evolutionary growth. There is a Hindi poet, Kabir. He has written a couplet. It is called Doha in Hindi. He says, कबीरा आप ठगाइए, आप न ठगिए कोई, आप ठगे सुख उपजे और ठगे दुख होए. So when he says Kabira aap thagaiye, he says that in English we can say that he wants a man to be deceived, to be cheated. A man is cheated only when he believes somebody, he relies somebody, he has a faith in somebody, and the very faith is the manifestation or is a thing of the spiritual consciousness. Whenever somebody wants to undertake the path of yoga or is spiritual evolution, the rishis, the saints say, be a child. A child is very innocent. So innocence is a very, very important requirement for man's evolutionary growth. So this very evolution, or that is to say, this very innocence is drowned. Man has lost this very innocence. Because of this loss of the innocence, man is no more a man. He is worse than an animal. In fact, it is when a man loses innocence, he is a new category of evolutionary retrograde. The plane of man is not an evolutionary retrograde. But the moment a man loses his innocence, he creates a new world of evolutionary retrograde. I think the very word subhuman is also not very much sufficient to express this very truth or the resultant effect of the loss of the innocence in man. And on account of this, things have fallen apart. Center cannot hold. W.B. Yeats says in his poem The Second Coming, the center is the divine. So since innocence is lost, there is no ground, there is no conducive environment for the descent and the dwelling of the transcendent divine. So this very state of man has made him spiritually sterile. So, in the words of Hamlet, everything is out of joint. So much so that it cannot be set right by any human effort or by any earthly efforts. So now there is a requirement of the descent of the transcendent divine or the divine into the terrestrial existence, so that the reign of the divine consciousness could be established into this earth and a new higher transformation could be made here, a higher life could be established here. So this is the spiritual discovery of the Vedic rishis. This is the spiritual discovery of the writer of the Gita. This is the spiritual discovery of W.B. Yeats. It is not under the intellectual mind of T.S. Eliot that Yeats has discovered, visualized this divine truth of the descent of the divine consciousness into this earth. All the men of the very high plane of spiritual consciousness have discovered it. Even in Hindi literature, we have a renowned poet, Tulsi Das, in his monumental work, the Ramcharitmanas. He also says the same thing which the Gita says or which W.B. Yeats visualizes. जब जब होई धर्म की हानि बाढ़ई असुर अधम अभिमानी तब तब प्रभु धरि विविध शरीरा हरऊ कृपा निधि सज्जन पीरा. Yeats also says some revelation is sure to take place because there is the decline of righteousness, there is the decline of the divine values, not the moral values, but there is the decline of the divine values. I again repeat, it is not the intellectual mind of T.S. Eliot which has made Yeats to discover this very truth. His spiritual consciousness is so much evolved that he could visualize this truth. And Eliot's intellectual mind cannot negate very this truth, because at the end of his well-known poem The Wasteland, T.S. Eliot is also under the emotion of his spiritual consciousness. That is why he ends his Wasteland, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So when we look into such an utterance of Shanti, Shanti, Shanti at the end of the Wasteland, it's very clear that he is under the emotion of the spiritual consciousness, and such an emotion cannot deny, cannot negate what W.B. Yeats visualizes here in the vision of the incarnation of the divine. The incarnation of divine is a spiritual truth. Even the world of science cannot negate it. It can be established by so many scientific logic also. But scientific logic is after all a logic of a lower plane of consciousness. Spiritual consciousness is that plane of mental consciousness where the separativity of consciousness is under the process of its death. And there is a simultaneous movement of consciousness towards the integrality of its transcendence, of its transcendent integral planes or integrality of its transcendence. So such a poetic consciousness of W.B. Yeats is something which will continue to flow in the collective mind of English poetic consciousness, which will determine the future of poetry as foreseen by Sri Aurobindo, because his very epic Savitri confirms it. Though Sri Aurobindo is not an Englishman, he is an Indian, but he is a writer of English literature. English literature must be seen in a very broader perspective. It is no more limited only to the land of the Britain, the Great Britain. It is a matter of English literature. English poetic consciousness has mingled with the spiritual temperament of Indian nature, and this thing is very much manifest in Savitri, because Savitri has been written from a very transcendent plane of consciousness. That's all. Thank you very much.